use big picture or clean client for the assessment. Here it is right here. So this is the assessment we went over with Anna. And we marked all the answers as 7s for all the time. And the outcome for the domains was 7. So here it is right here, Al. The cross domain score with weight. And then these are the scores.
They're all 7?
Yeah, I did all 7 to test that it. We did this together. We marked all 7 for all the answers to make sure that the domain score weight was calculating correctly. And then for domains 16, 17, and 18, they all share one domain. So we had to make that one different.
Yeah, did you try it with some other choices just to see if it made sense?
Well, we can. I can do one real fast.
You don't have to do it now. I'm just saying you should test it with the other ones just to look at the numbers and see if they make sense.
Okay. Test the LA with. All right.
You guys are welcome to come back.
Let me see. Okay. So yeah, we tested that. I'll test it again with different answers. And then this should populate on the treatment plan. Let me get the treatment plan. What date was that? The 17th. This treatment plan is old. We'll do another treatment plan while we're here. So do you want to use the new version or keep the current? Keep the current. Trying to open up a concurrent treatment plan. Make sure the goal level is right. Okay, so I'm going to do the concurrent treatment plan for this client. And basically, as far as the custom work is concerned, I just need to, once I complete this and save it, we want to check and make sure that those sub-reports are working the way they should. So I'll put today's date for the RP date. I'll put 9 a.m. Let's submit it to Nigeria. these levels. You don't need to fill that in.
Why are you skipping those?
Well, the clinical team usually does this.
What is it that
whatever their summaries are for these levels. I was just gonna skip down to the goal and intervention.
Those sub-reports?
We can go over them if you want.
Are those sub-reports? I mean, when you clicked on it, it looked like sub-reports that weren't filled in. Go back to clinical disposition. See, those look like sub-reports that didn't bring in any information.
And we're not using problems and strengths right now. I don't believe that we've trained the clinical team on using problems and strengths on their treatment plans yet, because we still have to work this part of the treatment plan out. Right, Nadir?
Right.
Why do you have problems twice?
The sub-report to show the problems they already have on file. Or if you want to add problems to sub-form.
I got
and the same with the strengths.
Okay.
And then the present needs level, it'll pull the problems that they have on file, and then you do a summary of whatever their needs and issues are.
Okay.
And then the same for rehabilitation expectations.
There's not a sub-report that brings in the previous expectations?
We don't have one here. Did you want one? You said
Sure.
That brings in the previous?
Yeah, whatever you have on record. If you don't have none, you don't have none. But if you have a previous rehab expectation on there, you should have a sub-report that shows it.
So you want to show previous rehab expectations.
That's not hard to do, right, Leslie?
No, and this is the concurrent treatment plan. And if I was using a real client, to pull everything over from the goal, the intervention, and these levels as well, and you could just make edits to it. But if you want to see it in a report format where you can't make edits, you're just adding an additional one. That's different.
So, Leslie, you're in a training environment, right? It don't hurt if you use a real client. If you want to show us what you're talking about.
All right, give me a second. I can go to a real client. Trying to think, who can I pull up who doesn't have a concurrent?
Who does not have a concurrent? Our last name E-Step, first name is Jamal.
Oh yeah, EFT.
Well, I mean, I'm lost. I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm just sitting here. I'm not clear.
So Leslie's trying to show you how the custom treatment plan works with concurrent IRPs, because for the majority of our PRP clients, they've already had an initial IRP entered into MyEvolve. So when we launch this custom treatment plan work, it will be for concurrent IRPs for the majority of clients. So what she's doing now is that she's about to access a real PRP client that has a concurrent, so she can show you how those first goals and interventions come over, and she can either accept them and keep them or drop them and delete them from the concurrent one. Right, Leslie? Did I say that right?
Yeah, the whole goal is I'm just trying to show you the custom work that they've done, how the sub-reports populate on the treatment plan. Because we've already gone over how the treatment plan works and everything. I just want to show you how the reports filter out.
Well, actually, no, there were some changes that because if you remember, there was an issue around how when you were developing the treatment plan, whether you the methods, activities, or whether we could access our own stuff. I would just remember that was an issue.
Well, let's go to the one that's already completed. So if we skip down to the goal level for the initial treat, this one doesn't even show. Let me see if I go to another client. So I want to show you how these sub reports. This one doesn't even have it.
You see posting up.
Why are these sub reports are populated and they should? I was just working on this client, this big picture client.
You was working on them in the training environment?
Yep. And all of their sub reports populated. I'm trying to see if the email I sent you last night had all these. Hey, screenshots in it. Okay.
So what's happening, Leslie?
I want to show the sub reports on the treatment plan, how they filter by category.
Okay. So Al, similar to how, so basically, you know how like if you're in the domains, you can just,
I know what client I had. I'm going to it right now.
Because you can't remember what client you was working on?
No, I remember. This one is already, it's a real client in the system.
Al, the main thing is, I don't know if you remember, but if we were in the domains form set, we could click on the top of the column headings and it could sort it by the highest score to the lowest score. And so they just made that available in the treatment plan also. So in the treatment coming in, they were static and we weren't able to filter them by clicking on the columns and then sorting all, so we could see all the 2s and all the 3s together. It was going by, alphabetical order, DLA 1 through 18. So that's what she's trying to get.
Yeah. So here Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So here are the custom sub-reports they've done for us. I know we've reviewed them before, but before this first set wouldn't populate. So Anna and Darren fixed it so they would, and it's filtering by category. So because this goal is goal number 1, for this first sub-report, you're only going to see the domains from the DLA 20 that pertain to that first, that first goal. So if I go to the second goal, you'll see you only see the problem category for DLA 3. So this sub-report is filtering by category. Then you have down here, it'll show you all the domains.
And you can filter it by any of those section headings. So if you click on domain score for the third sub-report. No, scroll down in the third domain score. If you click on that, will it filter it by numbers? So show like highest to lowest.
No. They told us that it doesn't work like that. The system's not set up like that.
I thought that was the main thing that we were trying to show him that was delivered. Okay.
So Leslie, this second one, the second report that says average score, that's the average score.
This one?
It says cross domain is 20.53. What does that mean? It says it's an average.
So on the DLA 20, we'll close this. If you go to the DLA 20, before we worked out the kinks where the cross domain score was coming out the way we wanted, it was showing.
Go on. Good to see you. What brings you this long?
There it is.
What are you showing me, Leslie?
Okay. So the sub-report we just saw on the treatment plan, you were asking about the 20.53.
Okay.
That's showing you the overall cross-domain score for the DLA 20. But that is before we worked out the kinks with Anna on, making sure that it calculates it properly. So this is showing you one of the old DLA 20s, basically the way it was set up.
So you're saying it should have said 7? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically. If this was a test that was all 7s, but this was done way before we did the right setup in the system. So that's why it's just showing this cross domain score.
Okay. So you go back where we were at, 'cause, yeah, it's more helpful for me when you guys do, Leslie, when you do a sample, that you got current information, because it really, for me, I have to see stuff and see how it lines up.
Right.
So what you're saying is that what they have now is that the goal, the DLA 20 related goal, they have a sub-report that shows you what the score was for that?
So whatever goal you choose for the client, you choose it here. So for this one, the first one is DLA 01, the emotional health practices.
Right.
So when they did the DLA 20, whatever questions fell into that DLA 1 emotional health, it shows in this first sub-report. So even though you completed the whole DLA 20, it's only going to show you, that first problem category in this first sub-report.
I'm saying you have 2 of them there. What's that do? Is that based on the date it was done?
Yes.
Because I don't see a date. There's no.
Well, here's the date here, 1/10/17. So this is two different tests.
Can we put a separate date field? Because that's confusing.
You want them to put a date field.
Yeah, otherwise your eye got to try to figure out by reading inside of that what it is. When you have a separate date, you can just scan down.
This is true. So add date fields to custom reports or treatment plan. And this is showing two different DLA 20s as well. Two different versions. That's why it's double like this.
So this other one, third one, all of the data.
This one shows all the domains.
All the domains from that one assessment.
Yeah.
What happens when you do a new assessment? Does this get replaced?
Nope, it's going to show all of them.
So all the ones you ever did.
Yep. I think is it all the ones you ever did? Was it 3 months? I mean, I'm sorry, the last 3. Because we talked to Anna about this, about filtering it.
Right.
I can double check with Darren.
Yeah, I mean that's important. And then if you look at as Nadira said, if you have all over the place and you don't have a way to sort them, like that's gonna get confusing very quickly. It's not gonna be useful. Because if I can't sort it by, if I don't have a date to sort it by, or I can't sort it by the category or domain, or at least domain, something like that.
It should put in the latest one. It shouldn't pull in all of them. It should pull in the latest DLA 20.
But is there a reason why they can't make it so you can sort it?
Go to the latest. I remember, what's his name? What's the guy's name that we was dealing with? He said we can't sort it based on clicking on these.
You talking about Ron?
Yeah, Ron. Mhm.
Oh, is that what he told you?
Yep. Because we tried to do it for interpretation sets as well.
Oh, that's the same function. Wow.
Yep. Mhm.
So how do we know what order? I mean, the order looks so random, and it's all over
alphabetical order, right?
Well, it looks like it's going from the date and then through the problem category. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It looks like it's in order.
Well, how come the top one's not lining up then?
Which ones aren't?
Go to the top. Oh, it's because that 18, I see that 18's out of whack.
18 wasn't linked to a problem category.
That's the problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if we had the date in there, that would be helpful. Well, you're saying that this is only up to 10%. So we don't need a date. We don't need a date here because it's going to pull up only the most recent.
Right. It should put up the latest domain score with weight assessment. Yes. So that's why it's only pulling one January 10th, but it's 2 different versions. If you look, you'll see the instrument used. It's DLA 20 Simple and then DLA 20 Simple 2. So that's because I changed the assessment.
Well, why? I thought you said only the latest. Why would we get both of them?
I guess because they're both on the same date, so it's considered the latest. So if you do 2, it should pull in. It should go by time too. It shouldn't just go by the date. It should go by the date and the time. Because if you do 2 or 3 in one day, which is, I don't know how ideal that is, it might pull all 3 of them.
To find out why it pulled in 2.
Yeah, so it's the latest. So you want to do it by the time and date, not just the date. Time and date. Okay. And we're going to add the date field. And so once you do the assessment, you get the cross-domain to populate, and you pull the DLA 20 into this treatment plan. You fill out the treatment plan. All of these sub-reports are going to populate, give you your results. Then you will go to the SDN form, which we have to come up with after we, go over how it works. Well, we're going to phase out our old SDN form.
Can you
step in our old SDN form?
Leslie.
Yes.
I think I'm still not with you completely. So go one step back again.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to remember, you got to move a little slower. I know you've been doing this a lot. So yeah, so you were at the goal. You were showing me the goals, and I didn't see the interventions.
Oh, okay. And interventions are going to be the same because we're not the same, but they're still on the same level as the goal. So because this first goal was DLA 01 emotional health practices, is going to filter in the same sub-reports. You're just choosing the intervention that's connected to that goal. So you have 1 or 5 or 10 interventions.
Where's the rating? Where's the reports, sub-reports of the ratings?
There's the rating right here, clinical rating.
No, I said the sub-reports.
The clinical rating is on the SDN note.
No, Leslie, that is very interesting. Oh, right, because this one goal and this one intervention comes on the contact note with that clinical rating of 2. Right. So the clinician entered this clinician rating when they chose this. That's why it's not coming in the sub-report from the DLA assessment. We don't give a clinician rating in the DLA.
I know that, but I'm saying where's it? Because you're supposed to be able to, if it's a concurrent report, then you have a previous rating, and then you're supposed to have a box to put the current rating. And then we have reports. We also have reports that got messed up, and we still couldn't. They hadn't fixed them yet. You said they want to fix them. That showed a average of what the staff person gave and the client gave for their ratings. Then we could populate that sub-report.
When she pulls up the SDN, she could probably show you that staff aggregates report. So let's remember that one, like the average staff and average client rating, and it was always 0 and never giving us a number.
Right.
We want to do that.
Now.
But to that point, I don't think that we've ever we asked NetSmart this. We want to see the initial clinician rating for this goal, and now we want to see a concurrent. We want to see over. Yeah, we never asked that question, Al.
No, it was on the other one. There was an extra box for you that it showed a box for the current rating, and then you had a place where you could put the most updated rating.
On here?
Go down.
Yeah.
Go down, Leslie.
Absolutely.
Go down. Let me see again.
That's on the intervention level. Let me see on the goal. No. I can see that it's hot.
I was saying that if this treatment treatment plan for this client was done back in let's say September, and now it's November, we're doing the second one. We should be able to see that in September, the clinician rating was 1, and now we're changing it to a 2.
Now that's on a concurrent. You want to see that on a concurrent?
Oh.
Leslie, what I'm asking.
This is the initial treatment plan.
Okay, why is it blanked out if it's the initial?
It's finalized, it's submitted, and
yeah, this one's finished.
So once it's been submitted and approved, it's read only, and we can't make any edits to it.
I got you.
Go put in a new treatment plan. So that I'm curious now too, Leslie. I'm curious about the previous clinician rating and current clinician rating if we do a concurrent.
I thought you guys told me you were doing a concurrent. That's why you messed me up.
Sorry, we switched to another client. So let's look at this on a concurrent. Let's look at the concurrent one and see.
All right. Oh, wait, Leslie, you went real fast. That was how Al could see that we either chose or didn't keep goals. You clicked that OK button fast, but it's okay.
I can close out. We can go back and do it again.
Yep, I need to see everything because I'm not familiar.
I'm so used to whipping through this stuff. It's hard for me to slow down and get on the teaching level. You know, it's hard.
I know. That's why I keep
so much to do.
You look at it all the time, and I'm trying to follow and read and figure it out.
All right, so this is the initial. It's finalized. You see it's finalized here.
Okay.
And it has the check mark, so it's approved. So if we go to this little eyeglass, go to review. This is how we do the concurrent or the review plan. We want to keep our current version, so I'm going to click no.
What do you mean no?
We want to keep our current format. We don't want to use another format because we want to keep whatever was done initially. We want to keep that format.
Why would you say no then?
That's how the question was presented.
You don't want to keep the format?
I do. The way they presented the question is kind of, see, if you read the question.
For the review, do you wish to use the new version or keep the current format? Format treatment plan has been changed. So what's that mean it has been changed?
So we're in the training environment, not like production. And some changes were made to this treatment plan in the training environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the initial one. I mean, not the initial, but it's 2 different formats basically because of the change. And you can choose the new format or the one that we've been using.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I choose no. And then here, it never lets you unselect it, so I don't know why they have that there. But basically, these are all the goals and interventions or objectives that were chosen for this, for the initial plan. And it's basically saying that it's going to pull them over to this review plan.
Can you choose things that you don't want to pull over?
Well, the system is kind of weird. So this is saying anything that you don't want and anything you want to drop from the initial plan, you just unselect it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't unselect it.
Why?
So what I have to do is once I press OK, I can go to each goal and intervention and discontinue any goal or intervention I don't want to use anymore on the plan.
Interesting. Does NetSmart know that doesn't work?
I mean, I've brought this up to them, and they're just like, just go to OK and bypass it and, you know, choose what you want to do with each goal and intervention individually.
The whole
Because you got
point
to
of
give a reason. So if I uncheck it, where am I going to put the reason why I don't want it anymore?
oh,
I don't know why they didn't get rid of this. But so I select OK, and then it's going to bring up the initial plan. It's taking forever. This is a long treatment plan. They have a lot of goals and interventions. All right. So where's all the goals? There's an intervention.
I'm just waiting, right? Because
Yeah, you are. I'm sorry. I'm checking. So it seems like when we transfer this over to training, we're having the same issue we had before of the goals. Development had to go in and fix something. The help desk had to. So all those goals we saw in the initial plan should have pulled over here. And then when you go down to status, you should be able to discontinue or revise or say that they achieved the goal and make changes to it. But it didn't do it for this one. But again, this is a training environment. And so, I don't know. Nah. But why did we do this, Nadir? Because we wanted to see if the clinician rating, if we'll be able to change it or choose another one on the concurrent.
I want to be able to see the initial clinician rating for this goal, and we want to be able to add another clinician rating. So I see that where it's black that says clinician rating, that's how we would add another rating for this concurrent treatment plan. But where do we see the previous rating for this goal?
And it's not there. So we need to request that then.
No, it was there before. It was there before. That's what I'm trying to figure out what's going on. You sure we have the right treatment plan format? Because it was there before. That's one of the first things I checked.
All right, let's go to the client Darren had.
Yeah, let's look at that. But I don't know that we've shown Al too many concurrents for him to be able to see that.
No, I saw it. It was one of my questions from the very beginning. I wanted to make sure that they had that feature. Very important to have the previous and then the new input. I don't know what version it was in, but I know we had it in one of those versions. Oh, boy.
who was he using? He was using this one. Let's see how many he has. So these are all the ones that Darren did. Of course, they use problem. Here's the old one. Is this a review? Oh, established. Okay. So here's the newest version, the one that Darren did, and it has the clinician rating here, and I don't see. Let me see if I do a review if it'll have what's the date on this? 12. This is the second one. That's the question. Here's the clinician rating again. See, I don't see it on any of these. Well, they're showing you the old one and the new one. We'll have to ask Darren about that.
Leslie, you probably had to go back to our some of the old ones that we have, that we did when we first started this process of reviewing the treatment plan. Because I remember it was there because I asked you to move the input, because they had it separated. They had the original one, and they had the new one down further, and I said put them together.
I really think we're talking about the SDN form. We can look at it to make sure.
No, it's the treatment plan. When they review the treatment plan, the whole purpose of this is that when they're redoing the treatment plan, they're taking the data from a lot of different places and determining the progress of the youth or the adult.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to look at these sub-reports and look at their previous rating and say, my assessment is that they've moved forward. We've had conversation after conversation with them because they thought initially we wanted to happen automatically, but we said no, it'll be subjective based on the clinician. Mm-hmm. And that they were going to rate the goal in intervention and the change in goal in intervention. The DSWs for the SDN only rates the activity.
Mm-hmm.
And the activity then gets added up, and then the clinician uses that activity rating as part of their determination of what it should be.
So your whole thing is, because this is the review, so on the initial they have the option of choosing a rating. On the review they have an option of changing the rating. So you see how this rating came up? It's showing you what they chose initially, but it's allowing you to change it. So do you want to see it this way, or do you want to see the old one and then an option for the new one?
You're saying it allows you to change it. So what happens if you change it? How would you know?
It won't change it on the initial treatment plan. It will just show the new rating for the concurrent.
Oh, you're saying so it just shows you what it is, and then you can change it.
Yeah.
And you could do that for the goal and intervention.
Well, the goal and intervention, you can add more goals or discontinue what you've already chosen. So you see, this goal was on the initial plan, and now we have an option to choose the status of this goal for the client. So we can discontinue it. We can say they achieved it. We can revise it.
Got that. I got that. What I'm asking is that does the intervention also have that clinician rating? And
I believe so. Let me go to it. It should
distinguish between if it just says clinical rating, how's it distinguished between the clinical rating of the goal versus the intervention?
I don't know how the system is distinguishing between the goal and intervention, except that on the SDN notes, when it pulls in the sub-reports, it shows the clinician rating for the intervention and the goal.
So in the treatment
That
planning,
makes sense.
if I'm in the treatment planning process and I'm trying to make a decision about whether to increase this clinician rating, the sub-report that tells me what happened with the activities is not in here?
No.
You have to go to an end note for you to see what kind of ratings were given through the activity piece?
You want to see on a treatment plan, you want to see the ratings that the DSWs were given for activities?
The summary of them, yes. Summary, of course. I mean, remember, they're doing a treatment plan, so they need to look at what was done previously in the previous time frame of serving that person, and then they're trying to make an assessment of what that should look like as far as their rating. So they have to review the activities that were done. So that sub-report, I know we talked about this before, that sub-report is supposed to be available. I mean, you can put it in, the information, or I don't care. You put it at the bottom of no, you couldn't put it at the bottom because you need it for goal intervention. So you probably had to put it in some other information, maybe the information area, the sub-report.
That's what I thought that the purpose of the aggregate sub-report was.
The what?
The staff aggregate sub-report, and that's what I thought was also coming on a treatment plan.
Yes, exactly.
Staff aggregate sub-report on here.
They had to fix the report, and we said once they fix the report, because it would never populate, we would move it over to the treatment plan, because that was the whole purpose of it. We had it over there at one time. I don't know what happened. Maybe because we changed, because they upgraded and gave us a new treatment plan, but we had it over there. We had it in the treatment
plan. See where it is, because I don't even see that they have it on here at all. Yeah, they didn't add it. I mean, we can add it. We have access to that sub report. So where would you want it?
I just said you probably want to put it into the information.
Okay.
Or completed information. What's completed information?
Billing authorization and outcomes of the DLA. But do they need to see it for the goal and intervention when they're choosing? And
I mean, it'd be great if they could. I mean, that's where they really need it. So I mean, they could see it. Go, either scroll down and see it.
So Nadir,
I'm sorry.
I guess you can tell me wherever you want. Cause I don't. When are we going to start implementing this level on the treatment plan? This action or method?
No.
I'm sorry, y'all. Can you hold for 1 second? I need to talk to Darlene real quick.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Leslie, we will have that as an option, but that's only when the clinical person believes they want to direct a specific activity to be done. So let's say, say they're talking to whoever, Department of Social Services, and they say, if y'all don't do nothing else, make sure that this client gets a physical. All right. She might make that a goal, but suppose as part of the physical, she wants them to actually, when they get there, to have the doctor sign a particular document. So she might put that down as action for them in the treatment plan.
As a what? A method?
Yeah, it's going to be a method or
Okay.
activity. Yes, as a method. But it would
And
be in
they're synonymous, right? Method and activity.
basically, that's how they've set it up. I mean, actually, yeah, they can have some slight differences, but they're basically the same.
Okay.
Because really, a method is more like. Well, I actually disagree with them. I'm sorry, Leslie. An activity is something that you do to bring about a result of the planning process that you have in place.
Because the method is the plan, right?
Yeah, the method usually means what is your methodology for doing that, and then the activity is actually. So method would be more, to me, method would be more like objective. You know, they would be, to me, they would be closer in proximity. But the way NetSmart did it was, and I argued with them, but I got tired of arguing with them.
And that's why it's confusing to me, because they gave us the option to link activities to objectives and methods. And so for me, it's like, well, which one are we going to link the activities to? Because we're not even using the methods here yet on a treatment plan.
But we're going to connect it to intervention.
To the object, okay. To intervention. Okay.
Yeah, method, yeah. Yeah, method and, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Method and intervention are very closely tied.
Mm-hmm.
And they connected method with objective, right?
They connected, sorry. So objective to them was what we call intervention.
Intervention. Mm-hmm.
And method and activities is synonymous for them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave us the option to link our activities to method or objective or intervention. So they gave us two options. That's why I was confused as to which one we were using. But you're saying we're connecting the activities to the intervention.
Right.
That's clear. Okay. So, Nadir, we're going to add the staff aggregate sub-report to the treatment plan. I just need to know where you guys choose.
I think it should go on the completed information or the current disposition. Which one is the one that has
Will they need to see it for every time they choose a goal and intervention? Will they need to see that sub-report just like these three?
They would only need it if that sub-report can filter by domains, like those three sub-reports that we see right here. They are now able to filter by domains. So if the staff aggregate sub-report can be filtered by domain, then yeah, I want to see it on all the goal and intervention levels. Also,
so how can the staff aggregate support filter by domain if they're coming from the activities SCN node?
Yeah, I don't say I will filter by domain.
I'm gonna lose the changes. Yeah. Let me go to the You can go to the SCN node.
So Leslie, can I say this?
Mm-hmm.